It's the new year. Yay, 2023. My first video of 2023. And if you recall, I did a video thanking my subscribers and asking what would be a good topic. And the first topic that I thought I could really do justice, because I went through this process, but it came from Mr. P 6538. Thanks for the recommendations. Great year, Gary. How do you maintain a house when you aren't there? Do you have security? Hire a house sitter? How do you handle landscaping, water, and mold issues while you're away? Thanks for the videos. Thanks, Mr. P. That is going to be the basis of today's video, in the sense that I'm going to kind of cover how I maintain my home while being part-time in the villages. And again, this is related to the villages. So others who are looking at, you might get some things, but some things are going to be very specific to the villages. So I want to start common sense, quick things that I want to cover. And I'm going to kind of do it in a top 10. First, you have to determine your budget. And I'm not going to go into the total budget. I'll go a little bit into it at the end of the video. But you really need to know if you can afford a part-time residence. And make sure you really have gone through your budget, financial options, all that kind of stuff of how you're going to get this property. I think that's the most important part of going to having a second home, because you're still going to spend money on your primary residence, and then you're going to spend additional money on a part-time home. But it does lead to some financial options to consider as you go through this. So that's number one. Number two, find a real estate agent or a villages agent. I'm assuming you haven't selected a property yet, so you need to do that. Again, not going to go into that process, but I think it's an important one if you're considering having a part-time home. And the reason between the budget and finding an agent is a part-time home is a second home might not be able to, you may only be able to swing a smaller square foot property to begin with than the full-size home that you may want to retire in. So there's a difference, and you want to make sure you know that. Number three, research the area. Because you're part-time, it really is no different than if you're full-time. Because you want an area that I would assume you're picking a part-time place to eventually move to be your full-time retirement home. And I'm hoping that that's why you're watching this video of moving to the villages, because you're really deciding whether to buy ahead of time before you're ready, and how many years ready. So research the area to make sure that's where you want to be. I think that's the biggest thing. You may turn this into a rental, and that may be another reason to consider the area. But I'm hoping that if you're going to retire, you're picking a home for the second home to be one that you can either downsize into, or one that's the size that you want in retirement. Number five, inspect the property, especially if you're not buying brand new. If you're buying a previously owned home, go through all of those inspection processes. Really make sure that you know any potential problems or costs. And I think this fits with your budget. Now, most of the people know these items so far. Number six, do your best to get the best price for whatever your home. Negotiate the purchase price if you can. In the villages, you're buying a new home, there's no negotiating. They set the prices, and that's what it is. If you want it, you buy it. If you don't. And prices are pretty reasonable when it comes to real estate properties and values in the villages. Number 7 7 is a little bit like the budget at the top. It's a second home. You might not be able to pay cash for a second home. You may have to take out a mortgage. So understand getting a mortgage and what that's going to cost. If you can't buy it outright and keep your current residence, you may have to finance. So look into a mortgage, look at what the interest rate you can get, what that's going to cost you, to add that to all the other costs of maintaining a separate part-time home. Number 8, get insurance. This one's an easy one, but in Florida, you're going to have a lot of questions if you're not from Florida. Flood insurance, is a big one that people question whether you should get or not get. With the Category 4 hurricane that hit southern Florida in 2022, definitely people are looking at it. Talk to a good insurance agent, figure out your insurance. Next is you're going to be part-time. You clearly have got to go there to set up utilities. Number 9 is set up your utilities. And this is everything from electricity, gas, if you're going to have internet, the water and sewer, all of those things is your utilities. And I want to go into those because that's part of maintaining a part-time home. How do you do it long distance? You're not there. But setting them up for a new home, you should be going down, getting the keys, and making sure all of these things are set up ahead of time. And number 10, property management. There's a number of companies that will monitor your home, and monitor your home means different things to different people. I know some neighbors in the villages will watch your house for you, but they're not quite the same as a management company who monitors your home, because it's a good idea to run the water, clean the toilets and run the water there. It keeps from any kind of smells or when the water dries up, or maintaining your heating and cooling. Just enough to make sure that everything stays in balance, whether your water system is on or off. To check your sprinkler heads on your irrigation system. To give you reports like that. Give you reports that they found some strange package in the front of your yard, or they're helpful when somebody needs to show up, a subcontractor needs to show up and fix something. A company management will do a lot more things for you, but you'll pay. But a management company. Now, I used Empty Nest. It's approximately $100 a month if you're not there the entire month. They charge you by the day. So they also get your home ready if you're going to come there for, say, a month, 5 days. They will turn on everything or shut off everything after you leave. So these property management companies also will rent out your home if you want to do that. Say you're not going to be there for an entire year. You may want to think about a long-term rental. Now, this is completely optional if you go this route, and a whole number of other factors. And I'm not really going to go there. I'm going to go that you just want to be part-time and you want to visit whenever. Kind of like me. Sometimes I visit for 5 days. Sometimes it's 30. Sometimes it's 2 weeks. It's in between. But a property management company, I have been very impressed with them. They also give you emails when they visit your home and an update. They also check when there's storms, whether you had any damage or not damage. So a good company will do a lot of those things for you. And it's invaluable. It's invaluable. The next thing that you can do is, if you get your house set up with the utilities that we talked about under number 9, and you do the internet, You can set up cameras to look at your house remotely. Clearly, a lot of people do that for security reasons, but pretty much what I found is the lowest cost really internet service is Spectrum, which is $49 a month. Plus, you'll be doing checking on those cameras, and if the cameras have some kind of issue, they might need to be reset. It's hard to do from far away. But those are some of the security type questions that you might have that really come into play when you're living remotely. So a property management company can totally handle that. Now, there are other companies than the one that I went through, which was called Empty Nest. I do believe they're changing their name slightly, kind of Hometown Property Management. They've done a great job. Not only do they give you emails when they visit, they also give you a monthly report. So you can see if they've been there 3 times in a month and what each inspection report, what they did, what they observed, and kind of give you a heads up. So what I want to do is kind of go back to the question that Mr. P had and hopefully see if I have answered part of the questions. That's how I maintain the house. I'm there back and forth, but I do really rely on the management company. The other question he had is security. You can get the internet and get cameras to monitor your own house. I don't really hire a house sitter. That's kind of like if you want your neighbor to do it. I kind of went all the way with the property management company. How do you handle landscaping, water? I think that's irrigation, mold issues while you're away. The landscaping, I at first hired an independent guy. I was looking at the most cost-effective way to do this. Don't do that. That person quit after about 5 months. Didn't tell me they quit. I just stopped receiving bills. My home property management company, I asked them, how's the lawn look? And because they give you reports that, whether the lawn looks good or not looks good, the irrigation, your plants, all that kind of stuff. And they saw no issues, but I got on the internet, found out from other people that the company had quit and gone away. So there are a number of major companies that you can pick. I ended up jumping up to Dean's, which does a lot of the mowing, pesticide control, that kind of thing. And I really am glad I did that, because at first I thought, when I'm part-time, every once in a while I'm down there, I'll handle the pesticide. Well, I can tell you 8 months in, my management of pesticides, I seem to find a lot of little ants and the rest outside, but all around my plants and those kind of things, which was a little disturbing. That I hired Dean's, and they come every 2 months, and they spray, and guess what? After having them for more than 8 months, I don't see any bugs. Every once in a while, a couple, but nothing like when I was trying to do it myself. So Dean's was kind of an all-in-one package. They do your mowing and your pesticide. You pick your package levels that you want to do, and they bill you monthly or every other month for the pesticide. So that's worked out really well for me. And how do you handle mold issues? Well, I haven't really found mold in the sense of like... in New England, when we talk mold, we're talking house mold and black mold. And what I've found with a new house, you do get this green algae mold kind of stuff that will get on your house where the sun doesn't hit it, and it will start to turn green on whatever siding that you have, or whatever. At least for me, I have vinyl siding, and I have found that I need to go out there and pressure wash it every once in a while. So I personally, since I'm there part-time, I have bought a pressure washer, the appropriate nozzles, and I will call it the appropriate soap that you put on the house to kill that kind of stuff. And that has worked really well. I had, in my first year, I had one back wall that clearly was really green. And I got out there and power washed it, and it looked just like brand new. So probably a big thing in Florida is, if you don't want to do it, there are companies that will power wash your house for you. And most people recommend about once a year. So I think if that's what you're getting at mold issues, I don't really find mold. The heat of the summer, the temperature, the house heats up. I have not found any problem with mold, but I also have a brand new home. So those are kind of the answers to this question that, it's much easier to maintain a home distance-wise. You do have to kind of make sure you understand what it's going to cost you. Because clearly a part-time home, whether you buy a villa, 1,000 square feet, whether you buy a home that's 1,500 square feet, or like a designer home of 2,000 square feet, the prices are going to vary. And they're going to vary for your utilities, and they're going to vary for your water bill and sewer bill, and your amenities fee won't change, but it will. The fixed rate that you get goes up every year, and you kind of have to plan on it. I did another video, what does it cost to live in the villages, which was really based on my part-time. And, those costs, one of the things I've really found is, because I'm part-time, the costs are much lower than New England. My electric bill in New England this month was $250. My electric bill in the villages, I was there for part of a week for last month in December. It's like $40. Big difference. Now, if you're there all the time with security system and everything else, I want to tell you that it's going to cost you $100 a month with everything going. But as a part-time, you spend a lot of time with everything at minimal. The last thing that I kind of want to add to this last topic of maintenance, which is the big one that Mr. P wanted to know about, was, with all of these different costs, you still have your property tax, your bond, whatever you've agreed to. So when you look at the utilities, keep in mind that you've got all these other costs for an annual cost to own the home. Right now in the villages, I'm looking at it as a very positive thing. I get to go there part-time, so I get to use the house. But and it's growing in value that is about equal. Now, I could look at it a different way. Don't buy in the villages too early before you're ready to retire, because that amount's going to just keep costing you every month, every year. It's going to cost you. And are you really making out versus saving that amount of money and buying a house when you're ready to retire? So these are kind of the choices that you've got to make. I hope this was helpful. I didn't go into the detail of every bill. If you want me to do that, mention it in the comments, because I'm willing to do that. But I think this is really the top 10 things that you got to look at if you want to purchase part-time in the villages prior to retirement. Hope you enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Hey, I also got a lot of recommendations for videos, so I'm looking forward to doing those. But Mr. P, thanks for the first one. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.